So I'll read a quote or hear a quote, and then that'll get me thinking about a topic, and then I'll end up writing about it. So this morning I'm talking about the ego's sense of entitlement. And the statement, the quote that I read, and I can't even tell you where I saw it, I just jotted it down, was, "When we realize we are not entitled to anything, we are grateful for everything." When we realize we are not entitled to anything, we are grateful for everything. And I think this quote really struck me because it captures a profound truth about the human condition and the nature of gratitude. It reminds us that entitlement can blind us to the blessings in our lives, while otherwise humility can really foster gratitude and appreciation. And in a world driven by expectations, achievements, constant comparisons and judging that we often talk about, this quote really urges us to step back and reflect on the simplicity of gratitude and the real dangers of entitlement. By shedding the belief that we are inherently deserve things, that just because we exist, we deserve things. If we shed that belief, we develop a deeper sense of appreciation for the people, the opportunities, and the experiences that we encounter. You know, entitlement is this belief that we inherently deserve certain privileges or benefits, often without effort or acknowledgement of others' contributions, just because we exist in the world. And I think our culture really reinforces this message. You see this really pervasive, especially with younger people. You know, my parents grew up in the Depression, and as many of our parents did, I think, and didn't really come out of that with much of a sense of entitlement. But that's really changed as the culture has changed. And, you know, this sense of entitlement stems from a mindset of expectation where we feel owed by the world. We feel owed by our circumstances. We feel owed by other people. And this illusion, which it really is of entitlement, can manifest in a variety of ways. You know, a belief that we deserve a high-paying job just because we exist or just because we have a college degree. You know, the assumption that our love or kindness should always be reciprocated. You know, it should always be transactional, always have strings attached. The expectation that our lives should unfold in a particular way. You know, these and many other forms, entitlement takes many other forms. But it's a fragile construct. You know, it creates a mindset of dissatisfaction and frustration because the world rarely aligns perfectly with our expectations. If I walk around feeling entitled and the world doesn't meet my sense of entitlement, you know, I'm frustrated and I'm angry and I'm bitter. You know, when we believe we are owed something, that's our focus. We fail to appreciate what we already have. It tends to override our sense of gratitude. We focus on what is missing in our lives, not on the gifts in our lives. And this constant pursuit of more or better clouds the beauty of the present moment. It leaves us discontented despite the many blessings in our lives because we're not paying attention to them. We're paying attention to what we don't get that's driven by the ego's sense of entitlement. Gratitude, in contrast, is rooted in humility. You know, it is the conscious recognition of the goodness in our lives, whether it comes from people, from nature, from our circumstances, whatever. It's there. We only have to shift our focus to it and away from, you know, the sense of entitlement. When we let go of entitlement and accept that we're not owed anything, you know, none of us are owed anything, we open ourselves to the mindset of gratitude. We begin to see each moment, each kindness, each opportunity as a gift rather than a birthright. You know, consider something as simple as a meal. With an entitled mindset, our meals are taken for granted. We assumed this is a basic right of our existence. But there are plenty of people in the world for whom this is not, you know, something that's just there for them. You know, when we approach the meal with gratitude, it becomes a source of joy and appreciation. We recognize the efforts of the farmer who grew the food, the folks who harvested that food, the people who prepared the food, that delivered the food, all of this chain of events that got that food to our table, and the privilege of having access to nourishment at all, when that's not universally true around the world. But we take it for granted. Taking things for granted is really a subset of entitlement. And what gratitude does, it transforms the mundane into the extraordinary. It fosters a deeper connection to the world around us. Let me say that again. Gratitude transforms the mundane into the extraordinary and fosters a deeper connection to the world around us. When we realize we're not entitled to anything, there's a shift in perspective. It prompts us to confront the reality that life owes us nothing. How unfortunate we are, how privileged we are to have all that we have. This can be a humbling and sometimes even uncomfortable realization, because it sort of strips away some of this sense of specialness that we carry around. Life is unpredictable. None of us is guaranteed success. None of us is guaranteed happiness. And none of us is guaranteed fairness. My kids always just say, it's not fair. Well, that's right, it's not fair. But this understanding is liberating. When you think about it, without the weight of entitlement, we approach life with greater resilience and greater flexibility. Instead of lamenting what we lack, we focus on what we have. We don't take it for granted. And this helps us navigate challenges and setbacks with grace, because when I hit a bump in the road, it's not like, this shouldn't happen to me, why me? It's like stuff happens. I'm grateful for all I have, but I have to recognize that adversity is going to hit all of us. It helps us when we're facing failure. An entitled mindset might lead to bitterness or blame. I deserve to succeed. I deserve not to have this happen. But with a mindset free from entitlement, we accept failure as part of the human experience. We accept adversity as part of the experience. We learn from it. We move forward. It becomes yet another teacher. It shifts our focus from what do I deserve to what can I appreciate. So when we embrace gratitude, it not only changes our internal mindset, but it influences our interactions with others. It fosters kindness. It fosters empathy. It fosters appreciation. It fosters generosity. It just shifts our entire worldview. And when we are thankful for what we have, we're more likely to want to share it with others. We become more patient. We become more understanding. We recognize that everyone is navigating their own struggles, even if it's not apparent to us. Expressing gratitude in relationships, not taking our relationships for granted, strengthens the bonds and builds trust. A simple thank you acknowledges the efforts of others. It reinforces a culture of appreciation, which is grossly lacking these days, I think. And it also helps us savor the fleeting moments of life, the beautiful sunset, a kind word, a shared laugh. It reminds us how precious and fragile and impermanent these experiences are. But in a culture preoccupied with achievement, status, and comparison, the realization that we are not entitled to anything can feel contrary to the culture. It is contrary to the culture. But this realization, embracing this realization, opens the door to profound gratitude and greater contentment. When we drop or lessen our sense of entitlement, we free ourselves from this constant cycle, this treadmill of expectation and disappointment. We begin to see the world not as something that owes us, but as a place filled with gifts waiting to be appreciated. Gratitude transforms the way we experience life. It shifts our focus from a scarcity mindset to an abundant mindset. from dissatisfaction to fulfillment. It's a sea change in terms of our worldview. The simple act of recognizing that nothing is guaranteed allows us to cherish everything that we have. Everything that we have. So in this way, the statement that I started with, when we realize we are not entitled to anything, we are grateful for everything, serves as a powerful reminder to live with humility, to live with mindfulness, and live with an open heart. So that's the ego's challenge with entitlement.